Right now, I'm in a not too familiar space because it's usually around this time where I'm thinking about what I'm thankful for as a Bears fan, and it's not much. And I'm usually having a breakdown about needing to fire coaches and general managers and talking about draft position. And most importantly of all, venting, ranting, raving, and bitching about Bears football! But not this year. Not this time. It's late November, and the Bears are actually playing winning football. It might not always be pretty, certainly entertaining for sure. But it's also late November now, and the Bears are playing in some games with some real stakes. Like, believe it or not, the Bears are sitting in first place in the NFC North at 8-3. That's wild. After that 0-2 start, they're one of the hottest teams in the league. And last week was another exciting, entertaining, cardiac Chicago finish. They beat the Steelers 31-28. It addressed at least a little bit of the criticism of this Bears team not beating a winning team. Partially, though, because Aaron Rodgers didn't play. And even then, they still had to win ugly. A lot of 2001 Bears team vibes with this 2025 unit under Ben Johnson. But, at some point in time, you playing a bunch of bad teams, you still got to beat them, and the Bears are beating them, and 8-3 is 8-3. Be different. We were talking about 3-1. It's like, yeah, that's a whole lot of season left. And frankly, there's still 6 games left. Like, for all we know, the Bears could finish 8-9. They could lose them all. They could also win a mix of them. But here we are. And, what's interesting about this team is you can't really use injuries as an excuse, although sometimes it's a good reason. The Bears certainly have had their fair share. They've had more than their fair share, I would argue. And yet they're still relevant, and yet they're still finding ways to win games. So one thing I'm trying to keep in perspective, it's easier said than done when it comes to the Bears this year, is have yet to really see this team at full strength. Never really got that this year. So many guys out on the offense, or especially the defense, just is what it is, but they find a way to get it done. And I look ahead to this matchup on Sunday for Chicago and say, this is a big one. It's not an absolute must win, but boy, it would really go a long ways towards their playoff chances and thinking about the NFC North race if the Bears can find a way to beat the Eagles. At a minimum, if they don't beat them Sunday, at least play them well and keep it close. Because then you could say, man, they went with a really good team and they went toe-to-toe with them and they proved that they belong. That would be huge for the confidence of this team going forward the rest of this year. Meanwhile, you get to the Philadelphia Eagles, and last week's performance is a clear example of it's not how you start and it's how you finish. Like, they were up 21-0 on the road against the Cowboys in the second quarter, and yet they went on to still lose that game. It surrendered 24 unanswered points, and you did that to the Cowboys, and your offense in the second half couldn't do shit against a Matt Eberflush defense? Are you fucking kidding me? What are we doing here? That's wild. But that shit happens sometimes in divisional matchups over the course of a 17-game season as well. You're going to have those games sometimes where you just don't play well. You don't finish. And even with all of that, the Eagles are still in a really good spot. They're sitting comfortably atop the NFC East at 9-3. Likely they're going to win this division at a minimum, get a home playoff game. And they are certainly very much in the thick of the race in terms of the top seed and home field advantage throughout the playoffs. But when you look at them, it's not quite the same team as last year for sure. You could talk about some of the free agent departures. It certainly didn't help. But their offense has been up and down this year. Saquon is certainly not having a season like he did last year, nowhere close to it. Jalen Hurts in that passing game, they'll have a good game, then they'll have a really shitty game, then they'll have an okay game, and then a meh game. They've been really up and down this year. The defense, I don't think, has been terrible or anything, but they're definitely down a notch or two from 2024. They're much more of a middle-of-the-road defense, but they still recently have shown some ability to really play like a high-level defense. When you look at the games against the Packers and the Lions in back-to-back weeks, they shut those offenses down. One thing I'll give the Eagles credit for, they're 8-3, but they're doing that with the first-place schedule, right? They're beating lots of potential playoff teams. They've already beaten the Chiefs, the Rams, the Bucks, the Packers, and the Lions. So yeah, every once in a while you may have a really stupid loss to the Cowboys, and again, that was a stupid loss. This is a team that's also beaten enough of the other good teams that you really do have to take note and you have to take them seriously. But for the Eagles, they really need this game. They really do. If they have any designs on home field advantage throughout the playoffs, they got to find a way to this one, because you don't want to sit there and like lose 2 in a row at this point. You start to wonder like, could things fall off the rails a little bit? Not saying they are, but like there's always that chance, right? In terms of the odds as they currently sit right now, as the time of me recording this, I think this will get uploaded sometime on Thursday. I'm recording it Wednesday night. Philadelphia is a 7-point favorite. The over-under is 44.5. The spread, in theory, looks right. The over-under feels a little bit ambitious, if we're just being honest here. In terms of the injury report, it's not good for the Bears. It's been a common theme throughout the year, and that continues now. As I understand it right now, TJ Edwards, Noah Sewell, Ruben Hippolyte are all out. You've already got Tremaine Edmonds on IR. Looked like Tyreek Stevenson with a couple of DNPs for practice on Tuesday and Wednesday. He might be trending towards out on Friday as well. And maybe the one consolation we could have is we're getting to a point where maybe you start thinking about Jalen Johnson and Kyler Gordon coming off of IR and being able to return to action. I don't know if it'll happen Friday or not, but boy, it would be a boost if those two guys were in the secondary. They fucking need them. And then on the offensive side of the ball, you've got Theo Benedict. Looks like he's trending towards playing. I'm not saying that's a good or a bad thing. I personally would rather see Ozzie Trapillo at left tackle right now. But it is what it is. In terms of Philadelphia, I'm presuming at this point, based off of the practice status and the injuries, like Lane Johnson and Andrew Mukuba will be out. I don't know what Devontae Smith's status is going to be. I think he'll play, but if he doesn't, that certainly would be of a benefit to Chicago. There's no question about it. But the Bears have been far more hardly hit by injuries than the Eagles this year for sure, and especially right now. In terms of keys to victory for this one for Chicago, the first one's going to sound redundant, but it's true. Win the turnover margin. They're 7-0 this year when they force more turnovers than they give up. And they're 1-3 when they are either even with the turnover margin or have a negative turnover margin. If the Bears win the turnover margin, more likely than not, they're fucking winning on Friday, period. Defensively, make Jalen Hurts beat you with his arm. Like, don't let him run around. Make him beat you with his arm. Because when you do that, you're in a much better position because he's really up and down as a pocket passer. And that passing game of the Eagles in general is up and down. Offensively for the Bears, 6+ targets for Luther Burden and Colston Loveland. They each had 5 of them against the Steelers on Sunday. They need 6 or more. These guys bring different, unique elements to this offense. This offense is better when they get their speed and athleticism and route running involved. You got to find a way to do that. And then in terms of the running game, 10+ carries for Kyle Monangai. He was so much better again than DeAndre Swift on Sunday. Like, we got to stop fighting this. Like, Monangai is your feature back. Go with him. But at a minimum, if you're not going to make him your feature back because you want to be stubborn or you want to validate Ryan Poles overpaying Swift, at a minimum, you need to get 10+ carries for Kyle Monangai. In terms of Philadelphia, it's avoid turnovers on the offense, right? 2 of their 3 losses they had this year, they had 2 turnovers, including Sunday's performance at choke job against the Cowboys. Don't turn the ball over. The Bears are depleted on defense. Don't make it easier for the Bears. Make them really earn it. In terms of the offense for the Eagles, 20+ touches for Saquon Barkley, and especially with all the problems of the linebacking core for the Bears, there should be a heavy dose of Saquon Barkley in the passing game. Get him in the flat, get him over the middle, and make those linebackers have to cover. And then defensively for the Eagles, they got to keep Caleb in the pocket and make the Bears earn it slowly. Avoid the big plays given up. Make the Bears have to be methodical. Because if you make the Bears methodical, if you're the Eagles, you're at an advantage because you play a better style of methodical ball, if you will. Now, there's a lot of opinions, I'm sure, about how this game is going to play out on Friday. I don't even know how I feel about Friday afternoon, like a Black Friday afternoon game. I don't know if I'm keen on that or not, but it is what it is. It's one of these things, like, for all intents and purposes on paper, looks like the Eagles should absolutely win. But Chicago's just so pesky and they fight so much. Like, they're resilient. It's hard to dismiss them. Like, yeah, the Eagles are certainly the better team. But damn, like, it's a couple of 8-3 teams here. Like, the Eagles are certainly beating better opponents overall, but the Bears are still 8-3. But I think the Eagles win on Friday. Whether I'm saying it's a Jeff jinx or not, that's up for you to decide. But I think Philadelphia wins 23-17. I just think they're better all around as a team. They're better on defense. And if they can make the Bears really have to earn it to be methodical, that's going to put the Bears in a bad spot, limit their opportunities on offense, and eventually lead to them having to press. So I think the Eagles win, and I think the Bears cover. And if that happens, then I wouldn't feel too bad about a loss on Sunday. But boy, I just imagine if they won this one. Be 9-3 and beating the defending Super Bowl champions, that would be a statement victory for Ben Johnson. And I would look at it frankly, and I would say when I look at the coaching right now, the Bears have an advantage there between him and Sirianni. So, bear down on Friday, bitches. But yeah, I think the Eagles will win.